Amazing. Wow.
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome.
How are you ladies feeling today?
Very good.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Super excited for you to talk about these two illnesses because I know that they affect so many people. So
Yes.
Yeah.
And as you spoke the other day, nutrition is a huge component to that.
Mm.
And I'm going to share something at the end that I didn't have on my screen before, um, just about the combination of nutrition and thyroid, because I think that's important as well. So I'll have to go off, share, and then come back to it. But we'll talk in the middle so that we'll have interaction with everyone. Sounds good?
yes.
And I'll wait till 8:45 to start. But Sally, how are you? You make me laugh. Just seeing your face. Because I remember the all these smiles from your class. It's lovely.
I'm only bummed that I can't join the 12:30 one. I have something else, but I did my homework for that. So
thyroid is a very important part. So our pituitary gland is here in our head, and then our thyroid gland is here in our neck. And the thyroid gland is a major organ that actually is very small, but it is very important for our heart rate, our blood pressure, and even our period, our menses, or menstrual cycle. A lot of people that have difficulty with their menstrual cycle, they never think about the thyroid. They always think about the organ, just the ovaries and the uterus, and it many times is more leading to thyroid issues. Thyroid is the major function, and when the light comes on, it really matters because people will have a lot of different symptoms, which I'll show you here today. So what are hormones in general? There are pituitary gland, the adrenal glands, which are above our kidneys, that control our cortisol production or testosterone, estrogen production, and then our ovaries and testes. But then the thyroid is also an important part. It's important for how we feel, how we look, how we think, and how we function and perform tasks. So very important organ that is sometimes forgotten. So I describe it as the engine to the car. Thyroid is the major engine, and sometimes you don't need a whole new engine. Sometimes you just need an oil for the engine, like an oil change. The next component is that the oil change may just be zinc, selenium, iron, and iodine. Well, zinc you can get in radishes, any root vegetables from the earth, potatoes, parsnips, and then selenium, which is in Brazil nuts and also in halibut and sardines, and lots of different fish have selenium in there. But the amount of selenium you'd need to have 6 Brazil nuts a day, or you'd need 30 ounces of halibut. And I love halibut, and I'm not eating 30 ounces of halibut. So sometimes Brazil nuts are easier to eat, or sometimes I'll take a supplement that has selenium in it. And there's one called thyroetane, which if you guys...
Celine,
Yes?
what is Halloween?
Halibut is a white fish. It's
okay.
kind of like, have you ever had mako shark, or what's another fish that's similar to halibut?
It's okay. It's a fish. I will look for it.
Yes, it's a great fish. It's a great fish to eat. Very hardy, but yet flaky. Similar to like sea bass, I think, a little bit. And then iodine is also rich in fish, and so and seaweed or kelp. And then also another thing that's a good oil for the engine is iron. And iron sometimes you can get from meat, and those things sometimes need to be supplemented. Now, if you don't get chelated iron, then a lot of people will get constipated. So I don't really like for people just to take iron alone without it being chelated or in like the thyroetane. And I think I need to open my chat, because is anyone chatting? Because I can't see it.
We were just having sharing the Zooms for coming in,
Okay. Okay.
and then I will just, if there is a question or something, I will let you know.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So as the engine, thyroid is a major component to our energy level. Now, cortisol is a glucocorticoid. So that's the stress hormone. And so when we're stressed, we crave what? Glucose. And that's why when we're stressed, we crave sugar. And it's not our fault because our brain only uses carbohydrates for energy. It doesn't use protein or fat. So that's why when we're stressed, we don't crave a steak, you crave Snickers, right? Because it's a glucocorticoid. And when you get too much sugar, what the body does is the pancreas will secrete insulin, and it becomes so much insulin being secreted that then they bottom out and you start gaining weight around your tummy. Nowhere else, just around the tummy, not your arms, where you just don't want it, right? So cortisol, the best ways to reduce cortisol are massage, float, exercise, meditation, yoga. Those things we are all now practicing. And then the tires are the estrogen and testosterone. So if we put on new tires by giving people estrogen, testosterone, because everybody's asking about that these days, but we have no gas in the tank, meaning we're not meditating, we're not doing yoga, and we're not centered or grounded. But if we start doing meditation and we have new tires, if the engine oil is missing, the car isn't going to go very far. So that's why all the parts to the car need to work well for people to feel good. So we talked about the tires at one point, we've talked about gas in the tank, but the thyroid is a key component, being the engine. So most people don't realize that this is a blood test. You have to actually check it by blood. You can't check it with saliva or urine. If your temperature in the morning is less than 97.8, you have a thyroid problem no matter what your blood work says. So has anyone checked their morning temperature before? Anyone? No? So check, if you have a thermometer at home, check your morning temperature. Sally? No? Okay. If it's less than 97.8, your thyroid is off. And some people, if they only check TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone, made in the pituitary gland, they won't necessarily check T4, which is made in your thyroid, and then T3, which is made in your body, your tissues. Most people don't check that, and some people have trouble converting T4 to T3. So you have thyroid functioning well, but you still don't feel good, and your doc says your numbers look normal. Well, they may not be normal because you're not converting. So the things to help convert are zinc, selenium, iron, and iodine. The four things I just talked about, the oil to the engine. And there's actually a supplement called Thyrotain that I often recommend for patients to take to help them convert. The other thing is you could be making inactive thyroid. So I talk about it in your tissue, but sometimes people make it over here where it's being lost. All the thyroid you're making is lost. It's in an inactive component. So to convert inactive to active, zinc, selenium, iron, and iodine. So some people, if they don't feel well and they check their levels and they look normal, it may be going to inactive, and all you need to do is convert inactive to active. So let's look at some of the symptoms that people present with thyroid issues. Fatigue, cold hands and feet, decreased sweating, joint pain. That's a lot of people that have joint pain thinking, oh, I'm getting early arthritis, or I'm tired. Sometimes it's really your thyroid that's an issue. Menstrual irregularities. As I said, no one ever thinks about, and even my gynecologist I met with the other day, I said, you know, a lot of patients that I see and I fix their thyroid, their periods are perfect. And, you know, and she said, you know, we don't fix that. But I'll look into that in the future. And I'm thinking, she's the gynecologist, she should know this as well, which is crazy. Miscarriages, people that have trouble with miscarriages or have problems with recurrent infections even may have a thyroid problem. Brain fog, a lot of people, that could be related to testosterone as well, but brain fog and mental sharpness sometimes can be an issue of low thyroid. Hoarseness, dry skin, oftentimes is a thyroid issue, even constipation. People don't realize the gut and the thyroid have a big component together. Other issues are brittle nails. You'll see these ridges on your nails and wonder why are they there. Many times, brittle nails and ridging are due to thyroid episodes of low thyroid. Low blood pressure, low basal temperature, as we said, if it's less than 97.8. High cholesterol and triglycerides. Everybody will tell you, oh, you just need to eat better. Yes, because eating better helps to lower the cholesterol, which inherently helps your thyroid function better. So weight gain is a big component as well. And so a lot of us that start to gain weight as we get older, we make it the cause from our hormones, estrogen, testosterone, but everyone forgets that thyroid is also a hormone. And cold intolerance, headaches, sometimes could be related to thyroid, and infertility. Depression, most people think that is usually due to a neurotransmitter, and sometimes it is, but many times it could be related to thyroid. So always make sure we check TSH, which is in the pituitary, T4, T3, which is in our body, and then reverse T3, which is the inactive component of thyroid. Hair loss. As we age, and I started having some hair loss as well, it was my thyroid. And I didn't even know that until I did my master's in nutritional and functional medicine, and then learned a lot about preventative things to help prevent all of these conditions instead of waiting for them to happen. Even fluid retention and enlarged tongue. This is a big one. Loss of eyebrows on the sides. I didn't realize that when my eyebrows were thinning on the sides that it was related to thyroid. I just thought, oh, maybe I'm plucking them too much. Tingling or numbness in your extremities. Loss of libido even could be thyroid. And allergic things could be related to thyroid. So did anyone have questions about symptoms so far? Anyone have any of these symptoms? Christine? Yes? Are you trying to say something or yes?
Definitely the eyebrows and libido.
Yes? Those
I'm
two
not
things.
sure it's only thyroid, but well, it's also.
But make sure they check all of those things, like, you know, and I can check them for you too if you ever wanted me to, but not in Barbados. I could give you an order so your doctor can check those. I could do that. And then
Falgini also commented on the chat that she had 85% of these symptoms.
Who did?
Falgini.
Oh, really? Wow. Yes. So Falguni, we are going to make sure you fix this up and make sure you get better, because it will give you so much energy and reduce your fatigue and really give you a motivation as well. I can't see her picture, so sorry.
I don't think that she had her video because it's early in her session that she just woke up. So she doesn't have her video, but she's chatting.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. So some people can have a high TSH and their T3 and T4 could be normal or low, and that's the hypothyroid.
Suelyn,
yes?
We have another question on the chat. Okay. Julie says she had some of the symptoms. Her mom had an inactive thyroid. Yes. And is on synthroid, and she's asking if that is hereditary.
Yes, oftentimes it's hereditary. So synthroid is basically only providing T4, and it's the only thing that's bioidentical. It's available synthetically. The things that I usually recommend are bioidentical, so they have T4 and T3, and I'll talk about that just in a minute here. So I'll go to that since she's asking. So when your TSH is below 2, that is good. That's optimum results. When your T3, depending on your ratio, some goes between up to 4, but less than 3.8 is also optimum, but between 1 and 1.4 of T4. These are important, but most times Synthroid, which is the prescription drug that is synthetically available, anything that's made in the lab completely is what the drug companies give. Anything that's naturally occurring, like even armored thyroid or compounded thyroid, is what's made with either an animal, so they can't compound it. So most doctors will only give Synthroid, and they'll provide T4. But what about if you can't convert T4 to T3? That's the problem. That's what happens with a lot of people. They'll get enough synthroids, Julie, but then if they don't feel great, and maybe they're not converting. And so something like the zinc, selenium, iron, and iodine will help them convert. But some people also may need something like alpha lipoic acid, or they may need L-carnitine to help them convert. And so it depends on their levels and where they're at. And if she's not feeling better, I would definitely have them check her T3, because if she's not converting, she may be making reverse T3, which is the inactive form of thyroid. So these are more than natural components. And that's why I really like this, because we're providing T4 and T3 so that if people can't convert, they're getting both anyway. And so the primary hypothyroidism, TSH is high, and these are the ones that most doctors will look for, right? But some people have subclinical. TSH is high and these look normal, but they're not converting. Or they have a secondary and they're not converting to the peripheral tissue, so that the TSH looks normal. And this is where, yeah?
We have another question.
Yes.
Falgini says, what is a good substitute of synthroid for vegetarians or vegans?
Okay, so you can have a compounded thyroid, so you don't get the pig. Very good question, Falgini, because some people will take the synthroid because it's synthetic and they don't have to worry about getting from an animal. But in people who are vegetarians, like some of my patients are vegetarians, or some religiously can't have pig thyroid, I get them compounded, so they get T4 and T3 together, so they're not missing out on what they need. Thank you for asking that. So I wanted to make this interactive, and if anyone ever has questions, they can always email me at my personal email, suelynhall@yahoo. But I'm really bad. This is going to be one of my questions on our next Sister Mind, is how to get rid of 10,000 unread emails. I am terrible, but my administrative assistant, Crystal, always answers this email. So if you ever have a question, you can always ask quantummhk@gmail.com, or you can call me or message me on the Athena Sisterhood. I want to share this other slide though. Escape is the one you told me, right?
Yep.
I want to show, how do I find share screen again? Oh, it's over here.
It's in the other screen.
Oh, it's on my other screen. Okay, yeah. So I want to share.
You are still sharing, so you just need to.
I know. I want to share this picture though. Oh, I can drag it over here.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. Hey, look at me. Hey.
Yay, you.
You're amazing, Suelyn. Look at you, technology queen.
Technology loves me, wow. And I love technology.
I'm so impressed. Oh,
so the reason I brought this slide out is cortisol, which is everybody's under stress with COVID, and cortisol has a big impact also on thyroid. Some people that don't convert, 40% of people actually naturally don't convert. So that's why when they get synthroid, they don't really truly feel better. And they may be converting just to the reverse T3, which is the inactive form. And that's why I want people to get those checked. And if you want, I'm willing to check all of those for you and order it and have it. You can do your lab where you live, no problem, and make sure that we check this because it's important. But genetics is 70%, Julie. Diet is the next component. We all know from Joanna's lecture, sugar is horrible. And the sugar industry taught us that fats were bad back in the 1980s. And this whole obesity crisis is due to us being uneducated about what the industry is creating for us, which is sugars in everything. It's in ketchup, it's in salad dressing. So when you eat salad, you think you're being healthy, but you're not because you're dousing it with sugar. And I want to brag that I had artichoke cakes yesterday, like crab cakes, but we made with artichoke, and then couscous with cucumber and tomatoes for my dinner.
Yay!
Well,
thanks, Joanna.
Yay!
And heavy metals, you know, we know that plastics and pesticides, I'm even drinking water out of a plastic container, right? And we know that this plastic can leach into the water. And these could be really affecting the HPA axis. And good, everybody take a drink. We're supposed to drink half your body weight in ounces. That is correct. coming from a urologist. I'm anal about that. Because these things affect the brain and how our brain functions. And cortisol can affect thyroid. So I wanted to bring this up just because a lot of us don't think about other things that can affect that. So stress can cause autoimmune disorders, it can cause cancers. And we know that reducing stress, just through Joe Dispenza's book on the lady who got cancer and was able to heal herself from within, was due to regulating her cortisol through meditation. It's fantastic how we can actually do that. Or through prayer. You know, this guy I know had prostate cancer. He wasn't even Catholic. He went to the Vatican and was cured. That's amazing. And he wasn't even Catholic. So the benefit of prayer and the soul searching and the inward feeling can make a difference. Diabetes, thyroid, neurological issues, hypertension, all from stress.
And then one thing there that I would like to add to that, that it blew my mind when I learned this a few years ago, is that there is a lot of stress that we don't think that is a stress. So sometimes we're like, oh, but I'm not stressed. Like, our body is so wise that if we put our body into stress for a long period of time, our body learns how to live with it, and you stop feeling it like a stress, but it's still a stress and it's still creating cortisol. It's just that your red signal traffic light is not working anymore, so you don't realize that you're in stress. And that blew my mind, because a lot of time we're like, oh, I'm not stressed. Oh, yes, you are just not realizing that you are.
Your body actually adapts to that stress, and it becomes in a constant state of high stress, and you don't realize it, and you're chronically that way. I mean, I was probably with all my urology all this time and running a business and my mom. So 3 different stressors, and now I'm learning to de-stress. And that's a huge component in regards to reducing my risk for breast cancer. I never had any family history. And recently my cortisol was up, and my marker that increases risk for breast cancer, which is estrone, which I'll talk about another time if I have a chance to. Estrone increases your risk for breast cancer. And the way to reduce estrone, I've been trying to reduce with meditation and also with yoga and with exercise. And those things will help to reduce that for me. So anyone has questions about stressors and things to reduce stress, because they're intimately involved. And when you chronically get stressed, whether it's the weather, it's been raining every day here, or if it's been sunny and it's too hot, everybody has their own stress. Sally, any questions? No? Christine? Any questions, Bailey?
Yes, you're talking about stress, but you also have good stress, no? So what does it do then?
Good stress? Good stress gets you in a good state of energy. This is when we talk about energy with Whaley, and how your positive energy and your will create results. And if you take massive action, that's a totally different stress.
But it doesn't raise the cortisol, or does it?
No, so cortisol will go up, but then it comes down. Cortisol is highest in the morning, and that's when you are at your peak. And so when Whaley talks about most really strong people wake up early in the morning at 5 a.m. and are very productive, that's because that's when your cortisol is highest. Your best productivity is actually at that time of the day. And high is actually good, but when it gets too high because it's stayed high, that's the part that's not good. So staying high isn't good, you need to come down.
And if I could add something there, Suelyn, is that is a misconception that stress is bad.
Right.
Stress is not bad. Stress is a function that we have to survive. And like Suelyn was saying, it's good to have it occasionally. The problem is that as the days and technology goes, we stay all the time over there. So we don't allow our body to go down and recover and then go up. So that is amazing to me.
So it's high. It's like a bell curve. It's highest in the morning, and then at noon it's about middle of the way, which is your most productive time. It's morning and then noon, and then in the evening it's supposed to come down. That is why people that have night jobs have terrible cortisol levels, because they exchange their diurnal pattern, and they're a night and then morning. And they're the ones that have a higher incidence of cancers, higher incidence of autoimmune disorders, higher incidence of thyroid issues and diabetes. My husband is an ER physician, and when he was working nights and a day and a night and day, it totally messed up his cortisol, that he was really high state for a long time, and then he bottomed out, which is the worst, because then you need adrenal supplements, adrenal glandulars to be able to recover. And that's why he did a lot of meditation, read a lot of Joe Dispenza's books. He's read, every time I see a book that we talk about, he's like, oh, I've read that already. I'm like, wait a second. I didn't know that. Pick and go with all these people's names that you say, Whaley, I say to him, oh, I know that. I've read that before. I'm like, oh.
That's awesome.
I do have a question for you then.
Sally?
So is it best to exercise first or do meditation first when you wake up in the morning? Because I have a routine where I exercise first, then I sit and do the meditation.
Now, when you exercise, it's going to bring your heart rate up. Meditation will nicely bring it down. So I think that exercising first would be great. Now, if you like to come and meditate first, there's nothing negative about going relaxed. And then, because if it's early in the morning, like Whaley gets up at 5, that's a great time because you're still more in your Zen level. But if you are more liking to be active and then come down, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But overtraining can be bad too. If you look up here, overtraining can create also stress.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so everything in moderation, as we know in life, is very important. Now, the thyroid is the stimulant, right? That's controlling your heart rate. So if it's off, that's why you can't mount a good heart rate when you work out and you don't recover well. So people that are athletes that have trained their bodies to get stressed and relaxed, like for me, when I run and I work out and I get to 150 heart rate, I come down to 100 in like a minute, which is amazing just because I'm used to it because I've always worked out. It's been a part of my life to exercise, to have great nutrition, to also relax. I always used to get massages. I float. I do yoga, but I just started meditation.
Very good.
Any other questions?
Hi,
Thank you so
Suelyn.
much.
Yes. Hi, Sam.
Hey. I'm glad I catch some of your sharing. You mentioned that people work night shift, that when they don't do night shift anymore, the cortisol drops significantly. Then is there any supplements that they can take apart from just doing meditation to?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of supplements like ashwagandha, rhodiola, ginseng, and there's a supplement that I recommend called Adrenavive that helps your adrenal gland to improve. And if you message me or if you email me, I can send you a list of all the adrenal supports because they help to improve cortisol. And there are also other supplements that can help the thyroid conversion. Like I said, the zinc, selenium, iron, and iodine is in one tablet. Because I used to tell people, and they get so tired of taking so many different pills that I found things that would be in one so that it would be less pill taking. And there's thyroxine is one of those, but then there's also adrenal supplements that you can convert that have ashwagandha, rhodiola, and ginseng in it. So you don't have to take all three. There are different roots that are really good for that. And like when I recommend even like say some people that don't want to take testosterone, there are supplements like Eucama root, there's tribulus, there's I'm blanking now, fenugreek. There are so many different supplements that I can recommend nutritionally to supplement if you don't want to go to the hormone itself. So, and especially for estrogen and progesterone for us women, there are a ton of different supplements that you don't have to take estrogen or progesterone, especially if you have a history of breast cancer or a family history. But for thyroid, I have a lot of those as well.
Okay, thank you. I'll text
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Do you do a night shift then?
No, my brother is a police officer.
Wow.
So I can resonate what you said because I do gong meditations, which is it's very activating.
Yes.
So when I do it for him, he don't like it.
Oh, really?
So I know he must have this
He's
like
at a high stress. His job and his hours are what create this. Police officers, doctors, and nurses that work nights are the worst in regards to cortisol, and they have the higher incidence of cancers. And as we say, cortisol is a big component to creating cancer. And if you're not mindful of it and change your at a job, which I made my husband quit his job, because he was not healthy. And if you're not mindful of, but now he's doing more stress because now he trades futures, which is crazy. I think that's more stressful than being a doctor.
probably true.
Right?
Yeah.
But police officers and nurses and all have a higher incidence of a lot of these things. And as a result, because of stress.
I see. Yeah, I need to help my brother. Thank you,
Any other
Suelyn.
questions?
Thank you, Suelyn. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
Can you stop sharing so we can all see? and
Yes.
say bye?
Let me,
In the top of the screen
thank
has
you.
to be
It's on the other
stop.
screen. Sorry.
There you go.
Hey.
There you go.
Now I can see everybody. How do I do gallery and share? No?
You cannot do gallery and share.
Okay.
It's one or the other.
That was
So
beautiful.
we take a picture?
Yes.
Oh, maybe this, yes? Both?
This? Okay.
Which one first? Okay, this one first. This one first, Sim.
Okay, 1, 2, cheers. Okay.
Cheers.
And to the other one.
Okay. Our heart.
And now heart.
Okay, heart ready. 2, 1. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you
And
so
if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. Thank you, Whaley. I can't hear
Thank
Whaley.
you. Thank you so much.
Suelyn, that was
Whaley, were you
absolutely
talking? I can hear
fabulous.
you.
Love the information. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
You
Very
have 4
good.
weeks. And you are amazing in technology for sure. Amazing.
I'm getting better.
Place to you. Like, wow.
I know, I have 2 screens.
You inspired me. I'm going to step up even further. There we go.
I used to be afraid, but now I think it's going to be my new mantra to just get better and better at technology.
Yes,
Yes.
you own it. Amazing.
Thank you.
I love when you said, look at me, technology. It's like, yes. Okay.
Look.
See you, sisters. Thank
See
you so much.
Bye.
See you at 11:30. I mean 12:30.
12:30. Yes,
Bye.
12:30.
Okay. Bye.
So, Sim,
Yes.
you're gone.
Oh yes.
Yay.
Yay.
We're going to do some testing today.
Can you hit it?
See how
Yes. Let's see the